Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Glad to have you here this weekend. This Saturday. Today is Saturday, July 1st, 2023. Thank you for tuning in. Listen, today's Canadian holiday here in Canada. It's the same thing as July 4th in the United States. Independence Day in the United States. And July 1st is... Anyway, moving on. This is what I wanted to talk about this Saturday. Is a Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which is actually 6 power plants in one, plus containment ponds. Let's take a look. Here it is right here. Okay, so we're going to hone down in on the 6 reactors. So these are like 6 nuclear power plants. Each one's like an individual nuclear power plant. If we hone in down close, you can see. That's a semi-truck right there. See, I'll hone right in on it. That right there. Okay, just above my head. that's the top of a semi-truck. To give you a size comparison. You know, a big container truck. 18-wheeler. Now, if we zoom out, you can see the size of this reactor core. There is reactor core. This thing, this orange thing right here. Looks like an orange. You see how big that is compared to that big semi-truck? It's absolutely huge. And there's the reactor core building. Okay? So that's like a nuclear power plant right there. And that would be a big nuclear power plant. But now look. As I zoom out, there's another one here. There's another one here. There's another one here. There's another one here. Makes it the biggest nuclear generation plant in all of Europe. One of the biggest in the world. So they got more radioactivity here. Chernobyl times 10. Or maybe even more. 10 times bigger than Chernobyl. And if it wasn't for a bit of luck, Chernobyl could have polluted the world with radioactivity. And Fukushima, this is bigger than Fukushima, bigger than Chernobyl. Now here's the containment ponds here, and they're big too, and there's a lot of them. They stretch for miles along here, these containment ponds. And what's in these containment ponds? You see these, if you focus down lower, you can see there's sprayers being sprayed. These are all, see on the end of these things, each one of these is a sprayer. To spray water on these containment ponds to keep them cool. They have to constantly keep these container ponds cool because they're full of rods, nuclear rods, and if they don't keep cool, they melt down. So all this in here runs for like, it's probably a mile in here. That all has to be kept cool too, or it'll all melt down. Then this is the containment pond right here, this big area right here. And this is fed from the Zaporizhzhia River. Not the Zaporizhzhia River, but what's the name of the river here? The Dnipro River. I'm sorry, it's not the Zaporizhzhia River, it's the Dnipro River. So the Dnipro River is where they blew the dam down this way. They blew the dam up. I think it's right here someplace. Well, anyway, along in there, and all this water that's contained up in here, and this reservoir has been drying up. You got to walk way out now, so the water, the river's dried up because they blew up the dam. So they don't have water to run they're running out of water. And I knew this would happen when they blew up the dam. I did shows on it. Well, what's happening right now from all this? Because if this thing can't stay cool, it's going to be the same thing's going to happen to it that happened to Fukushima. And I don't see how they're going to keep it cool. The water's gone away because they blew the dam. See, this is a system. The system depends upon the Dnipro River having a dam down there to create this giant, enormous reservoir up here to keep the reactors cool. Whoever blew that dam would have known that the situation that need to keep the reactors cool. Well, what's done is done. Now, what's happening is, now, why I'm doing this show, guys? I heard yesterday that the Russians are evacuating the nuclear power plant. They're getting the hell out of Dodge. They don't want to be radiated. They don't want to be in the middle of a meltdown, and they're getting the hell out of there. You know? There's been talk about how they might have, but I don't know if there's any truth. Now, I'm going to say next, I don't know if there's any truth to it at all. But there's been talk about mines being placed in around the containment pond. I don't know about that. But what I do know is there's a mad panic going on as Russia's evacuating the whole town near Zaporizhzhia power plant. They're all lined up to get the heck out of there. Look at them. Look at the cars all lined up trying to get out. Mad panic. Evacuates town near the contested Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Ukrainian officials say. And what they're doing is they're also passing out these potassium iodine tablets. Now, the EU donated 5 million of these potassium iodine tablets to protect Ukrainians from potential radiation exposure. But I heard that they're taking as many of these iodine tablets as they can get a hold of them. Some of them have even expired. Some of them are like 20 years old. The tablets they're taking. Because they're desperate. Because they know this power plant, how are they going to keep it cool? And if they can't keep it cool, that's the thing that happened at Fukushima nuclear power plant. Is what happened is a big wave come in from the ocean at Fukushima, called tidal wave, and it flooded their generators that they use to generate power to run the pumps to bring the water in to keep the thing cool. So they couldn't cool it. They couldn't get the water needed to cool it. And this is what happens with nuclear power plants. One thing leads to another. One thing leads to another. Now, here's the thing about this. If this area right here, the nuclear power plant, has any sort of a radiological disaster happen, well, it's in this war zone and it's in the occupied territories of Russia that they've come in and occupied during the war. They've tried to annex these regions. Well, the NATO forces would have to come in, probably, I would think, if there's some sort of radiological disaster, and the whole thing could get into a mix-up. Basically, I'm just looking at, if you got a blender full of vanilla ice cream and you drop in some cherries, it's going to turn red. And maybe that's not the best illustration, but basically what I'm trying to say is if you get a radiological disaster and the place is surrounded by Russians and you move in NATO forces, it could lead to an escalatory situation. We could even see them invoke what's called Article 5. Quite seriously with this situation. So this is a developing situation, but I don't think there's much time left, guys, because the water's draining out of there really fast. And this next week, we might see some big action sometime next week or sometime in the next 2 weeks from this situation that there's no real resolve to it. And it could actually trigger something much wider, much more bigger escalation in this war. That's what concerning me. So that's why I'm bringing it up this weekend for you guys, bringing it to you guys' attention. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you guys Monday. You guys have a great weekend. Bye-bye. Oh, and have a great July 4th. And I might see some fireworks tonight, maybe, because this is July 1st here in Canada. Bye-bye, guys.